Dude, attribution is killed marketing. Why are there no more jingles? Why was the last jingle that I remember? What an idea, Sarji. And then,
What an idea, Sarji.
Yeah, there are no jingles like
so they've
inherently.
just ruined marketing by making everything trackable, and then what you're not able to measure is memorability. This ad is probably going to be long if it's longer than 15 seconds. So what is the use of putting a 30-second jingle in it? We will not do that. The way startup marketing works, wherein you're not necessarily doing marketing, but you're creating distribution. Today we end up calling when my content is reaching thousands of people, I'm actually building distribution to them. That's not how you're building distribution. You're building distribution when you're cracking somebody cold and then, getting them into your funnel. Moving the funnel, the way, performance marketing does. People don't want to get shit in-house.
Oh.
Biggest,
very interesting.
The biggest...
Manvi said exactly the opposite.
But if you look at people who have families and are 45, 50 years old, they're like, you do your job, I'll do mine. You do the work. If you do bad, I'll fire you. At any point of time, they say Flipkart has 50 agencies on their roll. Yeah, these guys want agencies to do the execution work. They want brains in-house. But that is the reason why HUL's buying Minimalist. That is the reason why ITC is out on an acquisition spree. Understanding the platform that is Amazon. Understanding the platform that is Blinkit. These guys don't understand. And I think somewhere I may be biased in saying that you need to do a 0 to 1 journey yourself to really understand this. Hence comes a rise of people who've not studied marketing like you and I, and yet are moving marketing in all of these places.
Before we get into the episode, I want to share something with you. 83% of you that listen to the show haven't yet subscribed. The biggest challenge to making content is staying motivated, and numbers go a long way in doing that. So if I could ask you for one simple favor, it would be to click on the subscribe button wherever you are listening to us. Our commitment to you is that if you do that, we will do everything in our power to make sure that this show is better for you every single week. It only takes 2 seconds for you, but means the world to us, while we bootstrap our way to our first 1,000 subscribers. Now let's jump into the episode.
Thank you so much for coming on. You've been in the content space for a fairly long time.
You're going to sit with the
earphones all throughout.
Okay,
yeah.
Cool.
You probably will get used to it in like another 5-10 minutes probably.
Okay.
Right.
Cool. I'm like, okay, is he still testing? Is it still testing? Okay, now that's your permanent.
Yeah,
cool.
that's my permanent thing.
You've been in the content space for a fairly long time, right? Over more than a decade, I would say. 8 years at Avalon, and then
I actually started my career with Your Story. Before Your Story as well, I had set up a video team for ads in Manipal when I was working out of college. But yeah, Your Story is again media. So
you've been in like the media content space for a very long time, right?
Roughly about 10 years, yes.
Right. And I'm sure you've done like a bunch of things over the years, right? At Avalon, you mentioned there were like 3 different pivots that you guys did, and you must be doing marketing for all of them. Mm-hmm. And then after that, you've been like an independent consultant for a fairly long time now, for the last couple of years. What would you say is like the one thing that you identify with the most? Is it B2B marketing? Is it content in general?
I think it's general marketing. General digital marketing. I don't like the word digital marketing anymore.
Right.
Because
I think it has like very negative connotations to it.
Yeah. But general digital marketing is what I do. And I'm beginning to love brand more than I've ever loved performance. And I've done performance for a good amount of time. General marketing, I understand. I don't just understand, moving your top of the funnel metrics or middle of the funnel metrics. I also know how conversion works. But I'm now beginning to love the top of the funnel side of things, because number one, the folks who focus there are actually big companies who have substantial budgets. When you go to small companies, they'll be like, hey, boss, how soon can you prove it to me that what you're doing is working? And can you prove it to me in a week, in a month, in 3 months? In 3 months, you should be able to prove, but then for them, the proof is revenue, which is a problem that I've solved very, very well, because then it becomes about lead generation. Like how quickly can you generate leads? How quickly can you get revenue? But I think it's a lot more fun when you're playing with top of the funnel, mid of the funnel metrics, and it's surprising. It occurred as a surprise to me that, hey, you also get paid more to work on this because you're working with bigger companies who are always looking to, open up one new channel. So just increase my top of the funnel further a little more, and then I'll my bottom of the funnel or whatever is sorted, because I already have hundreds of salespeople sort of lined up to convert anything you bring in. So yeah.
So for companies of that scale, right? Let's say I would assume it is minimum 100 crores a year. That would also be on the lower end.
I think yeah, that would also be on the lower
On
end.
the lower
Yes,
end,
correct.
right? Because like 100 crores is like a good D2C company, right? Who's doing like good consumer brand, at least from what I've seen. I'm a third person, so
They will invest in brand, but something what I'm hearing from the market right now, they invest in brand, they invest in brand building.
who is this?
Sorry,
Like which company is this?
I'm talking about the
General
segment
market.
around 100 crores.
Got it.
Okay.
Even a company around 100 crores, they will invest in brand building,
Right.
not so much in brand marketing. And there's a difference.
Okay.
Brand marketing is amplifying the brand that you've built without necessarily tying revenue metrics to it. Directionally, you have to be right. What I mean by directionally, you have to be right. If my performance marketing is giving me a CAC of $500, which is scalable, sustainable, etc. Let's say my brand marketing can give me a CAC of $3,000, $4,000, but then I should be able to figure out some sort of a CAC so that I know I'm going in the right direction. So that's the kind of brand marketing they're doing, which is okay, which is directionally right. But again, the budgets are still low. They will they will always have a revenue target on any brand activity, and it will. I think that directionally right can be proven via a non-revenue metric as well. Can be proven via direct traffic uplift as well. It's way easier than working with a 0 to 1 company, but it's not as much of a breeze as working with a company that's making more than 400, 500 crores.
Right.
They really understand brand marketing, because most of these guys have Unilever leadership, folks from Unilever, folks from Reckitt Bensker. I don't know how do you pronounce it, but you know the brand behind Dettol, the company
Harpic.
behind Dettol or
Dettol,
Harpic.
Harpic, yeah.
Then ITC, then Procter and Gamble,
Correct. HUL.
Unilever. Yeah.
Oh yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
Correct.
So if you look at a lot of this leadership is now being absorbed by startups, because startups are starting to scale. Before that, startups didn't scale so much. Now, when startups, consumer brands, which are non-marketplaces, non-Flipkarts, non-Swiggies, and non-Zomatos of the world, when you're seeing Mama Earths of the world sort of, growing up, DTC brands, then you're seeing a lot of Unilever leadership being absorbed here. Varun Alag from Mama Earth and Shashank Mehta from Whole Truth. These are all ex-Unilever guys.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I did not know that about Shashank.
He is an ex-Unilever
Okay,
guy.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
So
So
this I think this is something that I have noticed and I've talked to. Like I have a couple of IAM sort of family friends, right?
IIM.
Yeah.
Okay, huh.
IAM family friends, and they sort of go down this route, right? They'll join like a Marico. They'll join these big brands managing their entire sort of. I don't know what to call it exactly, but I guess they'll be like brand managers, marketing heads, things like that. They always say the same thing. Like the people that are playing at that level, it's a whole different playing field.
At HUL.
Yeah.
Huh.
It's an entirely different sort of playing field. And second is, Sindhu mentioned something which was very interesting. He was like, he was talking about how he wants to build his agency, right? And he was just following the money. So where is the money coming from? Most of the money is coming from these big players.
Yeah.
Right, and
That's
it's
the
kind
biggest
of trickling. Yeah, it's trickling down everywhere in the ecosystem. So then, why don't I just go upstream and then try to get one of them?
Yeah.
Everything else will follow.
Yeah.
Right, which somehow just clicked and made so much sense for me. But tell me this: I feel like we were discussing this right before we started. We are in sort of that space where we are not coming from like a legacy, either like a marketing college or an advertising company or things like that, right? So we're sort of proving as we go that, hey, we're able to do this, we're able to do that. At least this is for us, maybe not so much for you. That we're smaller players growing in size slowly. And now we're trying to understand, okay, is this something that we can align with what a brand wants to do, right? Oftentimes for people like HUL or people who are in the advertising space, it's very easy because it's lateral, right? That, hey, I'm already working at this agency and it's like a massive agency like a Dentsu or a Shebang or things like that, and then I just go out and then I try to do my own thing, and that's how they get in the business. That's how they get their foot in the door. But for people who don't have that, for people who are more reliant on, hey, like I'm showcasing my work as I go. What has your sort of experience been like to grow as a consultant, to grow as a maybe like an agency owner?
Startup marketing and legacy marketing, or the marketing with 1,000 crore brands or thousands, tens of thousands of crores of revenue doing brands, is very different. Is ultra different. I'll give you an anecdote. 2019, we were working with some American brands on performance, and we were sort of all over the place. Some dude was trying to sell a software, some dude was trying to generate leads for real estate, some dude was a dentist who wanted more walk-in, somebody was running an amusement park. So those are the kind of clients that I was working with in 2018, 2019 types, which is okay because I was playing the same game of hey, I will sit in India, spend in rupees, earn in dollars, and minimum client size would easily be like $1,500. So and back in 2018, that was big money. So 2019, first time we pitched to a VC. This is Fireside Ventures, which is the VC behind Boat, Bombay Shaving Company, Mama Earth, Kapiva, Yoga Bar, bunch of all the famous brands today. Vinay is his name. He's also an ex-Unilever guy. Unilever's everywhere, dude. So okay, yeah, he invited me to present in front of his portfolio, and there in the crowd was Varun Alagh. This was 2019, and Mama Earth had only raised $5 million. They had done like Series A. I presented what I would call my conversion architecture. Hey boss, you get the lead, you get cold traffic this way, and then you convert them via retargeting and all. And somebody who's lapsed, how do you bring them back into the funnel? I did all that. I did a presentation. We got some good brands, to work with us out of that. Kapiva being one. Kapiva's I think now tending to a 200 crore company. Mama Earth also did a pilot with us, and Varun, having started Mama Earth, having worked at Coca-Cola, and having also worked at Unilever, came to me and he's like, very few people, I'm trying to grow my brand via DTC, and very few people understand what you just explained here. In India, there aren't very many people. So performance marketing as an art or as a thing, even then was actually, especially then, was not something that very many people did or pursued. I knew it because I started running ads in 2015 in college. When we started working with some of Fireside's portfolio companies, then we met more people from from different companies over from HUL. So the way startup marketing works, wherein you're not necessarily doing marketing, but you're creating distribution. And I will differentiate between, now today we end up calling when my content is reaching thousands of people, I'm actually building distribution to them. That's not how you're building distribution. You're building distribution when you're cracking somebody cold and then getting them into your funnel. The entire moving the funnel, the way performance marketing does, is actually building distribution, because you're getting that person into your ecosystem, whether it is your website, whether it is your email list, etc. That sort of digital play HUL does not understand. And if HUL understood this, or HUL marketers understood this well, they understand brand like nobody else. But if these guys understood this well, there would be good digital brands coming out of HUL. I don't know of a single brand that's primarily digital. Could be my lack of knowledge, but that is the reason why HUL is buying Minimalist. That is the reason why HUL is out on an acquisition spree. That is the reason why ITC is out on an acquisition spree. These guys haven't been able to crack Amazon as well, because Amazon also media buying is a big lever to move. You can obviously, anybody can list their product on Amazon, but gaming the media buying and making it more optimized, and understanding the algorithm, understanding the platform, understanding the platform that is Amazon, understanding the platform that is Blinkit, understanding the platform that is DTC, and understanding the platform that is Google, understanding the platform that is Meta. These guys don't understand. And I think somewhere I may be biased in saying that you need to do a 0 to 1 journey yourself to really understand this. You need to really move revenue yourself to understand these platforms. And HUL understands shelf spaces really well. They understand how to go to, a Nasik or a Sirsa or a Ladakh. These guys have distributors everywhere in the remotest villages as well. But this is not what they understand. Hence, comes a rise of people who've not studied marketing like you and I, and yet are moving marketing in all of these places. You will hence find anybody who's leading performance in any of these companies is primarily an engineer who didn't like engineering ended up in marketing, figured this out on the go, and that's exactly what's happening now. That's what's happening for content, because making ad films and TV commercials and all, these guys know really well, but really understanding कि भैया how to hook and improve CTR and then do that thing with the hold rate and also optimize for the thumb rate, these guys don't understand that. So
Are they interested in doing that?
they're too senior to be spending their time on it, so they manage people who
No, but like,
do
is
this.
there a need for it? Is there a hunger for it? That hey, like, okay,
Yeah, it depends
YouTube
on
is something.
Yeah, you will find people. I'm just stretching my argument a little, but yeah, you will definitely find people who will do that, but then not with as much of a childlike curiosity and as much of skin in the game as somebody who started their career early on in their life, just doing this or just making this funnel work. So these guys get to it, but again, these guys, because you've been an ex-HUL guy and now you're getting hired at a Series C startup, and your marketing budget is, let's say, 100 crores. Okay, maybe too much, 20 crores. You can afford to lose a little bit of revenue. You can afford to make mistakes. That skin in the game could be there, could not be there, but the cushion is too big. So, yeah, I mean, they will never get as good as a person who's literally got his skin in the game, which a founder would. A founder would have their skin in the game. But yeah, you go to any performance marketing agency, you will find kids who who don't have any background in
Correct.
you know
Like traditional
conventional
advertising, yeah.
marketing. Yeah.
No, that makes sense. As you were saying this, it just came to my mind that HUL is like suffering from success. Like they are so successful that they haven't been, they haven't gotten around to figuring out like the digital side of things.
Yeah, I mean, they can buy, dude. I mean, they how
Very interesting.
insanely profitable are they? You have to be insanely profitable to be able to buy a company in an all cash deal for 3,000 crore rupees. So that is what they are, and they would rather buy than they would build. They try to build, maybe it didn't work out. They're all on a buying spree right now, because, and this comes from Shashank Udupa, who understands markets well, and these are the top traded stocks. He's like, boss, these guys are not growing as fast as they should, and they're not growing because the digital share is being taken by the new challenger brands. So now these guys have to play that game. They're not able to crack that game. They were late to Amazon. Most of these guys were late to Amazon. They discarded Amazon as an opportunity. By the time they came, a lot of people had gotten established. Quick commerce, some of these guys took seriously, and they were like, okay, we're going to be early to quick commerce. So, but still, that that digital DNA is not coming, but they have the money to buy. And also, it's not like digital is any competition to these guys. The scale that these guys play at is, I think, primarily and predominantly best served the way they serve it.
I was looking at some comparison for Bombay Shaving Company, and I mean, it's like for someone that's chronically online, you'd think, oh, Bombay Shaving Company, oh my God, they have such great marketing. Arey, they're
How much are
beating
they doing?
Gillette.
300 crores?
300 crores.
Yeah.
Gillette's, I think, yearly or quarterly revenue is like 3,000 crores.
Yeah, dude.
There's no like comparison at all, and not to like, there's not a diss to Bombay
No,
Shaving
it's
Company.
not a diss. The thing is, startups, the Bangalore startup ecosystem or even Delhi startup ecosystem is centered around companies that are going from zero to, first of all 10 crores, then 50 crores, then 100 crores, then 200 crores or 300 crores. They're somewhere around here, right? The biggest of the biggest companies are somewhere playing in tens of thousands of crores, and even when startups actually start to scale to serious companies level, happens beyond 300 500 crores, then they have to understand offline, because they know that, boss, India, only the trust is offline. If I want to buy a 5,000 rupee suitcase, I have to open up stores like an American Tourister has. So Mokobara is everywhere now, Snitch is everywhere. Although they started digitally, they know, okay, boss, the next level of scale is only coming offline. So it's not like HUL is very valuable to a startup. HUL talent, ex-HUL talent, all of these legacy company talent is very valuable the moment scale comes. And most of these companies are now trying to open up scale. Even Colgate Palmolive, I think Bombay Shaving Company's co-founder has become the guy who comes from Colgate. or Palmolive or some sort of such company. Because beyond that scale, once you've cracked the early digital first India, the scale is only coming by legacy distribution.
Oh, that makes sense. Then you like your entire business is based on that level, right? Like you would ideally would work with what, Series A plus companies or Series B plus companies?
Yeah. Yes, I mostly try to work with the Series A plus companies, preferably Series B plus companies.
Got it. So with the series, but for them, let's say that they're at that scale, right, where they want like in-person distribution, or maybe they already have in-person.
No. I don't think Series B is at in-person distribution scale. More often than not, they aren't. Sometimes they are, but again, also these funding stages are a not clear marker of where you are in your growth stage. But yeah, aisa nahi hai. That's not true. And it's not like these guys shut digital. They continue doing digital because it's not like digital doesn't reach the tier 2 guy or the tier 3 guy. It reaches, if not via reels, then maybe via shorts. If not via shorts, maybe via share chat. But these guys are not willing to buy online. They want to buy offline. It's not like, boss, if tier 2 and tier 2 also does buy online, because that's why Misho exists. But again, that level of scale, you need some sort of a tangible presence. So digital doesn't end. Digital becomes brand heavy as in when scale unlocks.
Can you define that for me? Brand marketing versus like any other sort of
Marketing.
normal marketing. Like what is brand marketing?
Any marketing to work pulls two levers: mental availability, physical availability. Physical availability is you should be available on my shelf, of the Kirana store that I'm in. That I go to buy. You should be in that supermarket. You should be on Zepto. You should be on Blinkit. Whatever's physically just bringing your product to me, you should be physically present there so that I can buy. It could also be physical availability can also be physically available on the platforms that I buy on. Blinkit at the end of the day is a digital platform. Amazon is a digital platform, right? Now, if you're selling everywhere, but I primarily buy from Amazon, if you're selling on maybe 100 sites and I buy my protein from Amazon only, and if you're not on Amazon, I may love your advertising, I may love your marketing and your word of mouth, but I have a habit of going to Amazon to buy. At the end of the month, you're not there, I will not buy you. You have to be physically available where people are buying. It could also be running Instagram ads wherein I have a habit of seeing, clicking and buying. So that is physical availability. Mostly what performance marketing solves for, I won't say it doesn't solve for brand marketing, but mostly what it solves for is physical availability. Because I'm scrolling through reels and I have money in the bank and I have UPI. I can literally see click buy. You are there and I'm feeling excited about fidget spinners or muesli or this new equipment that's come out, or maybe Bonomi, and then I just want to be able to see click buy. You are on my Instagram feed at the right moment where I'm in the mood to buy.
Consideration.
That is algorithms headache to solve. That finding the right person who will see click buy is I want to buy a 99 rupee course to become financially independent in my life. So when I'm in that mood, you should find me. But making me excited about being financially independent and being a Sharan there, that has to happen in a different way, and that has to happen by telling me stories of what is the best asset class to buy, or telling me stories of how fidget spinner is great for anxiety or whatever, or telling me stories about how your protein is the best and it has zero adulteration and other protein has anti-caking agents. So that storytelling is called brand marketing. Physical availability can go all the way from being available in supermarkets to being available on Amazon, to being available on Blinkit, Zepto, to being available on Meta when I'm just scrolling. That is what performance and sales and all of that solves for, physical availability. What solves for mental availability is brand marketing.
Are there KPIs for you to measure mental availability?
Very good question. How can you... So basically the question is, how do you measure brand marketing? How do you measure brand? what is this thing called brand? How do you measure it? Because you're spending dollars on something that's not getting direct purchases. You're doing some storytelling. You're dancing on Instagram Reels, and you've gotten 1 million followers. How do I make sense of that for my business? How do you track brand? So how do you track brand? It is tough. It is tough, and sometimes it has to be the best work on brand has been done by the people who have some inherent conviction on, okay, boss, okay, we will make this work. So how do you make it work? One way I've seen, and you only have to be directionally right here. You can't be provably right. It can't be the channel that will give you same returns as performance. So how do you be directionally right here? You think in terms of frameworks. Is IPL driving any sales for most guys? Is the Razorpay did a kick-ass campaign recently? How many new users did Razorpay get via that campaign? It is nothing compared to what they would have done via their physical availability play, performance or whatsoever. But then why did they do that? Because now in my head and your head, Razorpay is far ahead than any other competition, because Razorpay is an aspirational or whatever. It's a more trustworthy brand. It's behind my favorite brands. Razorpay powers Mama Earth or whatever. That's the perception that they've created. My favorite brands use Razorpay, so next time I'm building a business, I'm going to use Razorpay. That deposit is in my head. How do you measure it? So how do you measure it is, it has to be a gut call, but there are certain leading metrics, not lagging metrics. Leading metrics could be, hey, are we seeing more search queries by the brand keyword? Razorpay. Are people searching Razorpay more? Okay, cool. How much of a watch time did Razorpay's message get? Who did we reach? You have to play in such frameworks.
But these are all coupled metrics, right? Like you can't uncouple them from, let's say, that one campaign that you ran for the keyword.
There is no hard and fast tracking for brand. A lot of companies just go by, okay, is there a search uplift, and have we reduced our CAC, which is also very hard to measure, because okay, you've shown this campaign to 1 million people. Now, are you going to retarget those 1 million people and figure out, okay, how much has my CAC lowered? That also, more often than not, you're not able to prove, because that cycle is again long. And maybe 1 million people is too less. And, if you've retargeted them again and again with performance ads, you've exhausted the fuck out of them, and then your performance ads have become more expensive than it was how it was working before. So brand needs gut. The best work in brand, I don't know if I said it before, the best work in brand has to be driven by some sort of founder or marketing leadership conviction. Call to build a brand has to come via this thing. And the things that these guys measure, even I've seen brands with 2,000 crore revenue not being able to measure it correctly. It's called salience. Salience is when it comes
similar to NPS?
No. Salience is you put 5 cold brews here, cold coffees here. There could be Blue Tokai, there could be Sleepy Owl, there could be Third Wave, and there could be Bonomi. Which am I likely to pick? And brand preference.
Isn't that also Net Promoter Score is that only, right?
That is Net Promoter Score is if I've consumed Bonomi and then I'm telling you, okay, boss, get Bonomi. I'm talking about brand preference. So, salience is resonating with that category or with that need very hard. When I need coffee or when I need cold brew, what do I think of? I unfortunately don't think of Bonomi. I think of Blue Tokai, because that's the cold brew I have. Building that salience, building brand preference, being the go-to choice for any category or any product is what brand sort of builds. How do you track it is very hard.
Isn't that like pretty insane to think about, that brand marketing is one of, like, it's very expensive, right? Like people invest a lot of money into, let's say, their ads or their campaigns and all of these things. But at the same time, you can't track it.
There are studies that are done at the biggest levels. Like I'm sure Nestle, Unilever, and all these global brands, that is what traditionally marketing has been. It's just the last 15 years, 20 years that the new sort of marketing has emerged because of startups.
Trackable markets.
Yeah, ultra trackable. But usse pehle, brands would do studies. They would hire research institutes and whatnot, and they would be able to prove it. That okay, I shut all my marketing. This is what went down. I shut all my brand marketing. We lost so much share, and they do it in millions or billions of dollars. Even Pfizer, for that matter. Pharma spends a lot in marketing.
Pharma consulting.
Okay, yeah. So how much they spend to influence the narratives in the market. So
Pfizer is a US pharma company. I think
Right.
they are the ones behind.
COVID vaccine,
Code
No,
accent.
no, COVID. No, no. What's that other?
a lot of scams before that.
No. I mean, Viagra. Viagra is Pfizer only, right? If I'm not wrong.
Never used it.
Yeah. I don't
No
think it's in
idea, bro.
India, but Viagra is, I think, Pfizer. Do you know about Piyush Pandey? I mean, little sidetrack. Do you know
Of
about
course,
Piyush Pandey?
Fevicol.
Yes, that's all.
Ogilvy, Fevicol, among a lot of other. So if you look at all of the iconic ads that we saw growing up, right? So, Kaisi Jeep Lap Lapai, Center Fresh.
Fruit. Fresh? Nahi re. Center
Center
fruit.
Fresh.
Center fruit, bro. What you
Center
said is
fresh.
center fruit, bro.
Center fresh is
move,
different. This
Okay.
lapai can't be center fresh. It has
Got
to be
it.
fruit.
Yeah, then Happy Dent, then
Huh.
all the chewing gum ads, Fevicol, Feviquick, a lot of paint ads. So I read his book.
Pandemonium.
Yeah,
Pandemonium.
Pandemonium. Brilliant book. And he talks through all of this. It is so incredible to think that the gut feeling that you're saying, right? If someone has read that book, and I highly encourage people getting into marketing or
I won't
into
say,
marketing to read
I didn't
it.
say gut feeling. I'm saying it has to be. It is a gut-based decision, but you can play with frameworks there. It's not entirely
Yeah,
gut.
of course.
But yeah, I'm feeling it. So let's do it.
Like,
Okay,
but
yeah,
I get what
it's a
you're
gut
saying.
decision justified by logic.
Yeah,
Cool. Yeah.
it makes sense because the way that he talks about, hey, like, okay, I was on a flight and we were about to lose this account, and then I came up with like that sort of iconic ad in like 3 hours of deep work. It makes a lot of sense, right? But to me, as someone from the outside looking in and figuring out my way in the marketing world, it's still pretty insane to think ki people are spending that much and it's working, and you know that it's working, right? At least it feels like it's working because I'm remembering these campaigns. At the same time, you can't track it, right? Like you can't sort of attribute ki, okay, how much is it working?
Dude, attribution is skilled marketing. Why do we not? I mean, why? We could have totally gotten a Nirma. Dude, there's AI, there are a lot of tools, digital is there, you can produce music without any instruments, and you could have produced music without any instruments for the last decade. You didn't need AI for that. Why are there no more jingles? Why was the last jingle that I remember
Yeah,
of
actually, you
idea?
know,
What an idea,
correct.
Sachi. And then,
Vodafone, I think.
Yeah, there are no jingles like
Yeah.
so
inherently.
they've just ruined marketing by making everything trackable, and then what you're not able to measure is memorability.
Correct.
Right. But none of the stuff that I see today, I don't remember a single ad of Mama Earth for that matter. I remember their IPO. I remember the recent controversy that happened with Lakme, but I don't remember an ad. I remember some of Whole Truth's ads. I remember Razorpay's ads. Where the recent guy, the dude will do like a woohoo. So memorability is just gone, and memorability is what is the backbone of brand marketing. And yeah, dude, I mean, the bigger the organizations get, the more necks on the line, the more you want to prove that you are made for the job or you are worth being kept in the organization in a cost cutting environment. So the more risk averse everyone is, the more trackable the work they want to do. And they'll be like, oh, this ad is probably going to be long if it's longer than 15 seconds. So what is the use of putting a 30-second jingle in it? We will not do that. But then, okay, cool. You've gotten your metrics. Great. Where is the memorability? It's not there.
Right.
Jingles and all these wayward concepts, they're just not coming anymore.
No, that makes sense. Where does social media and YouTube and like video content fit into all of this?
There's a narrative around that social media alone or YouTube alone can build enough distribution or content can build distribution. Content is distribution. People go to the extent of saying that. It's not. Social media and YouTube is primarily a brand play which creates mental availability. It's not a physical availability thing. So even a Variku or a Sharan who are producing content at I think nobody else's space, they need ads to do their physical availability work, right? So yeah, I think it's a great brand play. I think it's a very cheap brand play because TV ads are insanely expensive. Billboards are expensive. Attention is on social platforms. It's been on social platforms. It's just becoming noisy, but I think it's still much, much, much wider open than how newspapers were in back in 70s or 80s era. Newspapers were getting flooded with ads, and there was so much noise. Algorithms are curating your feed, so you will only get what's relevant to you. I think it's still a wide space open, but look at it as a brand platform. You can look at it as distribution if you're starting to go from 0 to 1, because you also have you can do back and forth with your audience. Unlike traditional advertising wherein you run your ad and people only consume, here what you can do is you can get feedback from the audience. You can see what is the sentiment. It's available in comments, it's available in how they react to you. You can track their clicks, you can figure out what they do on your website. So all of that is there. You can use social media platforms because it's a back and forth channel, it's a two-way channel, to build a community of sorts and get to that 0 to 1, validate your concepts, etc. You can build $1 million business. You can build probably a $2 million business. I would say mil is fine, mil is enough. Then you will need ads, because the ads solve for
Physical availability.
yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
No, very
Interesting. We're trying to understand, okay, what is something that companies do look for when they want to sort of like look outside? Because like once they have reached a certain scale, everybody thinks of getting things in-house. But what is something that people do reach out for?
People don't want to get shit in house.
Oh,
Biggest
Very
the
interesting.
biggest
Manvi said
because-
exactly the opposite.
huh.
She was like, I would much rather have it in house.
she would much rather have it in house because she's young and wants to get shit done. But if you look at people who have families and are 45, 50 years old, they're like, you do your job, I'll do mine. You do the work. If you do bad, I'll fire you. And that's why, I mean, at any point of time, they say Flipkart has 50 agencies on their roll. And Flipkart is, I don't know, how big are they? I know they got sold for like some $15-16 billion. I'm sure they're doing tens of thousands of crores of revenue or
Correct.
tending to that. So yeah, these guys want agencies to do the execution work. They want brains in-house.
Right.
What do your main
But
question
what do
was?
they look for?
How do you look at organic content?
Right.
So what we need to solve for, now that we've established that organic is a brand play, it's a brand marketing play, it's a mental availability play, not so much of a physical availability play. Now in the mental availability play, what matters to a brand the most is reach and the message, right? Now message though we will come to later. Organic content is only effective and valuable if it's able to reach a disproportionately large number of people.
Cheaply.
Organic, na? So you're not putting your dollars behind it.
Right.
But it doesn't make sense if you're spending $1 lakh a video and it's only reaching 100 people, because then it's more expensive than an ad. I would much rather do this thing. So can you figure out how algorithms work to get disproportionate reach and attention to a brand? Then it's valuable, because how a big organization is going to look at it is, boss, I am paying 1 rupee ka cost per view for 1,000 views or 1 lakh views. 100K views, I'm paying 1 lakh from a cost per view perspective. Can you give me 100K views for 1/10 the cost? That is that's how the math will look like. And then obviously your that 100K, that whatever they're spending will also have cost of production. Whatever you're making is also going to have cost of production. But the thing that you're taking away is you're not giving algorithm any money. You're feeding the algorithm with the content that it anyway organically wants to push. So if you can make that out, great, you've solved brand availability or brand marketing for a lot of people. Now, how do you do that sustainably is the question. Can you do that sustainably and reach the right amount of audience? Do you do it on your channel or the brand's channel? Do you do it on the brand's channel, or do you do it using an influencer play? Because now you have a full wide variety of influencers, and everyone wants to become an influencer today. There are more influencers than you can even imagine. It's insane. Yeah, and some of these, it just blows my mind whenever I look at it. We ran a campaign in some tier 1.5 or tier 2 cities like Chandigarh and all. When I looked at the roster, I'm like, fuck, these guys exist, and everyone's going to some travel trip to Rohtang and whatnot. There are I know barely 1 or 2 travel influencers, like Tanya Khanijao being one. The other one I don't know. Fuck, I only know one. Can you name another? And there's Akansha Munga.
Ronak something. He's the monkey magic.
No idea. Not visible to me.
Two-
Not on my
2.5
feeds.
million on YouTube.
Not on my feeds. He's
Yeah,
not
it's
made it.
incredible that you will find.
Yeah.
I on a daily basis find channels with like 10 million, 15 million, 20 million subscribers that I've not heard of at all.
Commodities. These guys have become. But yeah, I'm just like, dude, so many influencers in the travel space in tier 1.5, tier 2 cities. I'm like, where are these guys making money from? Turns out they only need about 30,000-40,000 rupees a month to survive, and they're making that much money. I mean, you have a good life for 30,000-40,000 rupees in a tier 2 city. Now, how do you solve that? Coming back, can you engineer content in a way that it always goes viral? Or can you do an influencer play that you're able to reach more people in a way that's either more memorable or more influential or cheaper than what paid ads would have done? So that is the entire play on brand marketing. Influencer content is technically organic. You're paying the
Yeah,
influencer, but he's not
influencer.
paying the algorithm.
Correct.
Tell me this, okay, listening to all of this, if I'm both a creator, kind of an influencer, I don't really like that word, also a service provider, right? So if I were to look at this and be like, hey, how do I work with a brand at that scale, right? It would be first to understand, okay, one is what is their current CPM or CPV, and then what can I do to give them same or better results for cheaper, right? That's essentially what you said. If I can,
cheaper is fine, but again, sometimes it also matters that okay, I can definitely give you cheaper results, but it's easier to also go wrong with the audience. Cheaper results for what kind of audience?
assuming that it's the right audience,
Acha, theek hai. So
right?
then
So let's just
sometimes
say
it's also
Ideal
about
scenario.
memorability. Can you be more memorable?
than an ad.
Huh? Than an ad. Ads
Than
are
a
so
performance
forgettable,
ad,
dude.
basically.
Right.
Ads are so forgettable. Like I don't remember I'm not on Instagram anymore. I only browse through LinkedIn and YouTube. So many ads are forgettable, dude. I don't even remember jack shit. So can you not be forgettable for a change?
So if I were to do that, how do I figure out what their current sort of
CPV is?
Yeah.
Pooch. Go ask them.
right? Are people willing to like just share it?
I mean, if you're willing to help them, you should just send somebody an email, boss, okay, whatever your CPV on brand marketing is or CPM on brand marketing is, I will beat that with organic. Are you willing to give me a try? This will definitely work. You just have to reach out to a brand guy. We'll figure out a plan of action. We'll figure out a blueprint that's going to beat this thing. It's also hard to beat though. Bonomi startup. Okay, can you take Bonomi into newer circles via organic and make it more memorable versus an ad? Because I can run an ad selling Bonomi to Chandigarh. I'm assuming they're not there. Can you do that in a smarter, more efficient way?
Dude, how much you're talking about Bonomi? They better sponsor us, man.
I mean, they're in Bangalore, right?
Yeah,
right.
Kormangla.
Um,
But it's good coffee, no?
Yeah, go to their place.
no, that makes sense.
Interestingly, Sanand has invested.
Yeah, I've met the founder as well. They came over to our office and did a free sampling.
Oh,
That's nice.
crazy.
Yeah.
So before this, we were having a discussion on how B2B, the whole thing. But how does B2B, because from outsiders' perspective, like I haven't worked with a lot of B2B companies, but it looks like a black box of what happens in B2B companies, if I'm being very
Yeah,
honest.
talk to us about B2B marketing. Like who
Yeah,
the
like,
fuck
kya hota hai,
watches,
bro?
Like
Like,
B2B SaaS ka YouTube
I've never seen
podcast. Why do they have a
anything.
podcast? Why do they have like content? How does
मतलब
B2B
कौन
marketing
देख रहा है
work?
ये सब वो जानना है.
I think B2B is the only company that's not after. B2B sector is B2B companies are the only companies that are not after reach. They don't care so much about reach. Most B2B companies, certain companies like, I would say Shopify.
Shopify is like B2B2C.
Yeah, so Shopify, I'm also talking, let's say Hagen for that matter. Or
Something like
But Hagen is
Squarespace.
also B2C only, no?
so these are semi B2B companies. Hagen,
Like
Descript,
Razorpay.
Razorpay and all. These are all semi. They are actually primarily B2B companies only, but then they are massy. They need masses to make sense of their business. Now, because they need masses to make sense of their business, they play like a consumer company. They're after reach. But when you go to pure B2B companies like the ones that we've seen always, like, koi truck bech raha hai. Yeah, machine.
Logistics or machines, hardware.
Yeah, even then, you will, how much do you find delivery doing really advertising? They've also become a very massy company. Can we go further enterprise wherein contract values are anywhere between 100K USD to tens of millions.
Something like what fix, because
Yeah, something like what fix.
What does what fix do?
compliance. Like
I don't know.
But like what in company?
I mean,
They
I
do
don't
adoption. They solve
exactly.
digital adoption for
Yes.
apps.
Okay.
But they do a bunch of things even I don't know what
Yeah,
they do.
bro, they do like a series of things. I'm like, compliance was easier to name.
Yeah, so nobody
actually.
knows what fixes, but I'm sure their customers do. Which is where a different kind of marketing becomes handy, wherein I know that I have started this business, and this business will become a $1 billion revenue company if I'm able to if I'm able to get 1,000 out of the 5,000 customers that are in my market. I know that there are only 5,000 people I will ever be able to sell to.
Correct.
Only 5,000 businesses are there that need my service. If I can reach 1,000 of them, I am a kick-ass. I've made it in life. So why will I waste time outside those 5,000 people? Because only those 5,000 people or only those 5,000 accounts, businesses have the spending capacity or even a use case for my business. So then I only need to play in that universe. B2B is the core differentiation of B2B from B2C is B2B's universe is finite. And when B2B's universe is finite, how hard is it to just say fuck you to the algorithms and get 5,000 names and email IDs and phone numbers on an Excel sheet? Then your entire market is in front of you. You don't have to use hacks and all. Then you figure out what are the creative ways to go after them.
That's why they're often very sales heavy, right? Like they'll just
That's
have
why
a
they're
sales
very
team to
yes, that is
just
true.
reach out and
That is true. So that that's why they will do whatever they will do only with those 5,000 people or people who can get them to those 5,000 peoples. And it could be events, it could be mixers, it could be showing up at the door, it could be asking a VC for an connect, it could be sending them gifts, it could be doing awards for them, it could be doing something in partnership with them, it could be what Plum does these days, rolling out reports.
correct.
That feature
Right.
either their customers or people who they want to
Correct.
have as their customers. So they do a lot of co-publishing with the accounts that they want to have. Like, okay, hey, come, let's create content together. It could be a report. It will make you look good, and it will allow me to have a chat with you. So that's how B2B works.
So where does content fit into all of this? Like when you
Co-publishing. Can you, as an agency owner, create content in partnership with people who you want as your customers? Example of this is what Razorpay did. At the end of the day, Razorpay is a B2B company. Sure, they cater to masses. What did they do? They created content in partnership with a yoga bar, a Mama Earth, I don't know, Snitch if they had, but they had so many businesses. And then they
had Snitch also, yes.
turned the virality effect on, like you can make your own video. So they sort of nailed LinkedIn with that. But what did they do? There was a co-created content piece. I will feature you. And they did it in a way with the companies who, so Talented worked on the campaign, Talented agency. I was talking to PG the other day. He's like, the entire dynamics of that is the entire strategy play in B2B is make your customers look good. In a way, thank them that, hey, because of you, I exist, right? So that was the sort of emotion that was being conveyed. And, for some of the brands that Razorpay got on board this time, they didn't have the money to go and, put themselves on IPL. Razorpay was like, I'll take you to IPL. I have the money. And because of you, I exist, right? So it wasn't just thanking a yoga bar. It was also, I'm sure they already would have had a lot of these customers, but then that is the play. You need to understand the play. You have to make your customers or prospects or potential customers look good. That is the content play in B2B. You are not the hero. Your customer is.
So many threads to pull on. First is that I definitely want to do a deep dive into Talented because it's like the third time that it's being brought up on the
You
show.
should get Talented.
Yeah.
And eventually
You
get
should invite them. I don't know much
Talented
about
because
them.
I don't know much about what they do. But just like
But they're clearly
I've
doing
known them up
something.
clearly
close,
doing
yeah.
something that is
They have figured
Oh, these
something
guys are very old and they're not new names. These guys, so Gautam used to be the CEO of Dentsu Web Chutney. He's done Dentsu for a decade. PG's done Dentsu for a decade. Gautam and PG started Talented together. And these guys have been in Dentsu for the longest time. Web Chutney is what they, were under. Most of the team is from Web Chutney. I think 70 to 80% of the team worked together in Web Chutney before they, spun this thing out. And they've had some of the biggest brands, dude. They, for the longest time, they worked with Flipkart, Forever 21, IKEA, whatnot, Swiggy. And Web Chutney as a company was born in 1999 when web was coming about. Siddharth Rao, I think, was the dude who started it. He's no more, unfortunately, but he sort of gave birth to Web Chutney. Web Chutney lasted for 2 decades before these guys moved out and built Talented. So Web Chutney was one of the pioneers of web based marketing, and these guys are very experienced. Both of them have more than a decade of experience, and they understand the agency business. They've spun out some killer campaigns, and it's a team that is known to work.
You guys had
very
the
well
guy,
together.
the founder of the new thing, right?
Viren. So
Viren, yeah.
now they are also opening sort of a
Smaller agencies.
yeah, that is called the new thing. Yeah, and new thing is, I think, focusing more on organic distribution and social side of things. How do we do it organically? Web Chutney is focusing on the ad films business. They're able to understand digital and be memorable in today's day and age. You should really get somebody.
Yeah.
Right.
Definitely should.
Yeah, that's been on
Yeah.
my mind. Even when we were talking to Man, we were talking about the same thing.
The way to do it is, so I did it back in the day when I was running a podcast at Traction Show. I wanted somebody on a podcast, so I spoke with the guest about it, and then I made a clip of it.
That's exactly what we
and,
did.
and then I put a clip
Correct. On LinkedIn. Yeah.
tagging that person.
Correct. Exactly.
Yeah.
So what we do is we'll do it with you also. At the end, we ask the guest for a recommendation, right? That hey, now you've come on, you kind of understand what we're trying to do, the people that we're trying to talk to. Who's like someone that you have taken inspiration?
I think this
from
segment
that-
would have been more interesting when you just me talking about Talented.
Right.
You put it out there and tag the Talented guy.
Oh yeah,
People
this
look
though
at it.
will definitely push out 100%.
I have too many clips. I'm like, yaar, और भी कुछ डालना है मेरे को LinkedIn पे. I can't just keep on putting this out.
So I'm just trying to sort of extrapolate from the previous conversation. Like generally, like what kind of companies tend to do this? Like, is there a specific scale that after which the companies
See, for
tend to do this, or like
co-producing stuff with the people, you can't just do a podcast with them. I mean, the more valuable would be, hey, we're going to spend the next 3 months doing a certain research. This is a report that we're going to create.
Right.
That report is about the behavior of Gen Z on the streets of 100 Feet Road. And we want to co-publish this with us. They'd
Right.
be interested, and so that it needs.
there has to be some.
Yeah, if I mean, it should be worth their time as well, no?
Right.
Or worth attaching their name to it as well. So that's that. Yeah. Apart from that, how does content work in B2B? Is there's a lot of content that enables sales. So there's a special category called sales enablement content. This is very valuable for any early stage B2B company, wherein this content could be testimonials from their current customers. This could be case studies, like properly short case studies. This could be testimonials, properly short case studies. It could be demos. Yeah. So there's a lot of content that you can create here that you're basically enabling a salesperson to. You're generating ammunition for a salesperson to use when he's on the field selling. That is the kind of content any B2B always needs, because that's how they get off the ground. Brand comes much later in B2B. Sometimes it just doesn't come. So they're fine without having that. For them, brand is you should look clean and good.
Where does AI fall into all of this? Because especially like being chronically on Twitter and seeing what these cutting edge AI companies are doing all the time, it sometimes feels like content is being automated, right? Like there's one new person coming and saying that hey, we can do X. Now we can do editing with AI. We can do this thing with AI. We can do that thing with AI. So
you can pretty much do everything with AI.
yeah, everything.
That is the
if
general
I were to
sentiment.
believe Twitter, then you don't need anything. You just need one, like 2 hands to type, and everything AI will do. So in the B2B space, with respect to content, like how is AI fitting into the ecosystem?
AI can amplify anything. Like if you give it bullshit, it'll amplify bullshit. If you give it, the word of the season, taste, it'll amplify taste. Somewhere, I keep thinking that with content generation being so amplified, are people going to lose their trust in content? I don't know. I think social media platforms will come up with, hey, this is AI generated. But a bigger marker of that would be our social networks DAU and MAU is falling, which is not happening. But your question was something different. Your question was where does AI fit in? I think to amplify anything. If you crack something, amplify the fuck out of it, be it in terms of text or video. I think I look at AI as an amplifier. I don't have
Like
any.
so for example, like a PNG or an HUL, I don't think they would go for like an AI avatar, right? As like the face of
They're anyway not going for a face as the face of their brand, a human as the face of their brand. वो तो नहीं हो रहा. But they would definitely go after. I remember Hrithik Roshan did a series for Zomato wherein his face was
Blurred.
an avatar, and he was like, okay, restaurant ka naam would be generated by AI. Rest of the thing was. So these guys are using. I mean, Shah Rukh Khan's AI avatar has also been used in certain campaigns. It's not like these guys are averse.
but I mean it's a very small, it feels more experimental than being
But
mainstream.
anyway, these guys have never done the sort of organic play that you're thinking about. These guys have never been the.
So it's like multiple steps
They're
into
not
it.
indie hackers.
Right.
They're not independent hackers.
Right.
These guys are. Things work differently there, and I don't think they're averse at all. I don't think so.
Right.
They may not have done it because things just move slow there, but they don't need it to move any faster because they're not in the business of being the fastest to adopt marketing trends. They're in the business of selling their things, which they're doing beautifully well.
What are some sort of interesting challenges that metaphorically keeping you up at night? Like things that you're
marketing?
thinking about right now.
I am thinking about underpriced attention. Any marketing channel or tactic, when it gets widely adopted, the law of shitty click-throughs comes in. Law of diminishing returns. The returns start diminishing. The clicks start, even though clicks are cheap or same price and all, you're getting a lot more shitty clicks which don't have the right intent user on it. In 2015, Facebook ads was the leverage. I think until 2019, a lot of brands, got built on DTC and all. After that, there was a short burst where a lot of independent creators sort of built their brands. I won't say massy brands, but they built their businesses when reels and shorts came in. So that was the boom. Now everyone's starting to create content. AI has enabled that en masse. Anybody can create 100 shorts in a single day. So that's a little problematic. Some of the tactics that were underpriced, underused, the leverage that was there, it's becoming diminishing leverage. So when leverage is diminishing, where is the next underpriced attention? Attention was underpriced if you were quick to reels, if you were quick to shorts, if you were the first one to get onto the shorts, and or if you were the first one to get onto Facebook ads, or the first few ones, or if you were the first few ones to get onto quick commerce for that matter. Today, where is the underpriced attention, and for what sector, where is it? For each sector, it's different, right? A Grow did not grow the way Zerodha did.
Correct.
Grow spent a lot of money versus what Zerodha did. But different times, different plays. So how does a brand get built today? Where is that underpriced leverage? You can build a expensive brand, spend a lot of money, use the mainstream channels, yes. But where is that underpriced leverage?
Where do you think that
I
is
don't
right
know.
now?
That's what I'm thinking about.
That's what
I think different sectors, different plays.
I think historically, so one thing that I keep asking myself is that can I look back in history for a similar trend that is happening? What happened then? And can I use that as my sort of feedback to predict what could likely happen in the future? For example, whenever you look at a new technology that has completely made its predecessor redundant, for example, cars, horse carriages, right? There are some fundamental shifts that happen that could not have been, like, you couldn't have foreseen them. So for example, horse carriages, cars, the thing is, the entire industry just vanished overnight. At the same time, an entire new industry came up, right? So with the same thing, like what I find myself thinking about is that with AI, what is that sort of exactly underpriced asset, or what is that area that people are just not thinking about right now? Maybe it's like this
In terms of marketing?
MCP thing.
No,
In terms
just
of
generally.
business, I would say.
Okay.
And then again, I try to apply the same sort of logic to content marketing, right? Of understanding like what is that area that no one is giving attention to right now, right? What can I be an early adopter to? The one challenge that I face is that things are just moving so freaking quickly that even by the time that you understand this thing, like deep research came out whatever months ago. अभी मेरे को समझ आया deep research properly कैसे use करना है. Already we are like 5 models into the next big thing, right? So another challenge is that like things are moving so quickly, you just don't want to adopt because you're like, if I adopt and spend the time right now, things will just change in the future. In like, so what is the point of I'll just wait for
So are you a technology enthusiast or are you using it for business?
both, I would say.
I mean, if you're using it for business, not everything's useful for your business.
Fair enough,
If
but
you're
like,
just
how
an
do you know it
enthusiast-
without knowing? You can't know it without using it, right?
You'll figure out somebody's gonna post a video about how I automated the fuck out of my life using.
Right.
You'll be like, okay, cool. I can also automate the fuck out of my life.
Yeah. I mean, I try not to look at YouTube for like
I mean, I'm
insights.
just telling you. I'm like,
Yeah.
it'll get known, dude. Like Facebook ads worked. A lot of people didn't know, but then eventually people knew, and even then they were late to adopt. Something will figure out. You have enough time at hand. The problem is, if you become an enthusiast, if you become an AI enthusiast, and a crypto enthusiast, and a whatever enthusiast, that becomes a problem because then you're just an enthusiast. You're chasing whatever's coming for with no use case in mind. You're like a student, or I don't know. There's no use case in your mind. There's no technology by in itself is not the value driver. No, some technology applied somewhere is the value driver, and you know where to apply it. Is it applying there? Great, but otherwise you're an enthusiast. It's okay. No shame in being an enthusiast. I'm not an enthusiast.
No, makes sense. Do you have opinions that over time that you used to, let's say, be in like camp A, believing that, hey, okay, this is my current truth, but then over time with your experience, you're like, okay, you know what, I've kind of changed my mind, and I did not believe in this thing before, but now I do.
Yeah, dude. The entire shift from performance to brand. I thought that all this brand thing is lazy people in big organizations making up stuff and not tracking stuff, not being efficient. They don't know that this exists. When I used to get kick-ass results and performance, and then over time I thought that, hey, there is brand preference is something, and brand is an asset. Your ads, you running ads at the most efficient way possible is not what builds a brand, is not an asset either. Sure, it's a leverage, it's a temporary leverage which somebody's going to eat tomorrow, but your brand is an asset. So that caused the shift to brand. Like, what is brand? Brand is your reputation in a certain category. It is as much of an asset as a product is. People. I've been brought up with this line of thinking because the first few things that we did at Avalon was building products, taking products to market. We did. I mean, of a few, but we did many more in the past. So to us, product felt like a software, right? We will take this software to the market. But then eventually I realized that, hey, this time I spent consulting with this company called Yoga Bar, and the way the founders think about brand is just very different. Like, anybody can produce products that they have, but what would make you pick that over the other thing? And that's going to apply today to a lot of things. And I've been very vocal about it, that, hey, when your product in itself is not the differentiator, what is the differentiator? When parity exists between your product and competitor product, then it's the bubble of trust, the bubble of reputation, the bubble of brand that you've created around it, the aura, the sphere of influence. That I didn't believe. I was like, if it's not provable, trackable, not adding up on dashboards, it's not there. But it is very much there, and I think it's the only defensible asset that there is left today.
For someone who does not come from this world, right? Who does not come from, let's say,
I did not come from this world.
I mean, but now you are, right? Now you are in this world. Let's say for yourself, 5 years ago, when you were, let's say, thinking about this or wanting to learn more about this, were there any like resources that you feel really added value to you? Maybe like a person or a book or like some interview that
brand? No, brand. I think I had to see it to believe it. Before that, I learned performance marketing via a lot of resources. Brand, I had to see it to believe it, and I did a very grand experiment by becoming a content creator and putting my face out there much before anybody. I've launched my Instagram in 2019, so it was a white space then. Then I saw people coming up to me even when I didn't create content, remembering me and all. I was like, okay, hey, this is something, and this no ad could have ever delivered. It's not like you can't build brand via ads. You can be memorable. You can engineer the message but there is something. And then I saw
You guys also ran ads on your first videos,
in the beginning
right?
to
Yeah,
sort
can
of
you talk about that a little bit?
that was to solve cold start. Like when I'm at zero, I need some visibility, and the fastest way, we had money in the bank, start putting these dollars out and get initial few eyeballs, and then we solved the cold start. That was cold start, like literally getting off the ground from zero. That is
Right.
the hardest place. So that's where we
Would
used.
you still recommend like trying
Yeah,
that out today?
if you have money, yeah, do it. Cold start is the hardest. Throw fucking kitchen sink at it. Pick whatever works.
Right.
There was this quote by, and I was working with Kapiva. I was like, I was seeing their growth, and then I heard something from Kunal Shah. He's like, for the longest time, and even he was popularizing this theory called Delta 4 at that time. He was like, if the efficiency of your solution is Delta 4 versus the existing solutions, then you have a viable startup at your hand. And then few months later, days later, years later, I heard him say that, hey, for the longest time I thought that efficiency is what built startups. But then I'm looking at a Tide, which is not the fastest surf or washing powder available, yet, it's able to drive adoption for themselves. So what they're selling is not efficiency, they're selling status, safedi chamkegi or whatever it's called. So, if you wear the cleanest, brightest white, you are a successful person. They're able to build that perception. So these guys are not selling the most efficient product. All your giants, HUL, ITC, PNG, blah, blah, blah. They're not selling the most efficient products. These guys are selling, I won't even say differentiated products. It's not like, these two molecules of thing on surf versus that on tide is going to change my life. Probably doesn't exist. Pantene versus Dove versus Clinic Plus doesn't do much for me differently. Yet there are more and more brands. So what are these guys fighting on? They're fighting on. He didn't say the word brand. He said status, but I think it's brand. And it took Kunal Shah time. Kunal Shah time to sort of arrive at this. I think PNG, HUL, ITC, Reckitt Benziker, or whatever that's called. These guys, Colgate, Palmolive, these guys always knew this. So what we're seeing hence is when startups are becoming bigger, they need these guys to come and help them out, because startups used to think like Kunal Shah used to think, we're only going to sell the most efficient product. And I also used to think that way, we're going to build the fastest funnel or the most optimized funnel. Eventually it's a brand play in the long run. So that really, changed me. I had an epiphany. Yeah, that was my moment of awakening. And then from that day onwards, I respect anybody who's ever sold a shampoo, soap, toothpaste, etc. Massive respect.
No, makes sense. You were pretty big on Instagram, right? You had like that detective series, and I think I've seen you around on content quite a bit. And then you can't stop. You have the fast forward series, but I don't see you on video that much anymore, and that seems very intentional, right? What was the thought process behind that?
I was tired. That's why I pulled out of Instagram. And also, like the detective series, the Jasus series drove views, but I didn't have a long term vision for it. I was like, what can I make it do? Do I want to become a beer biceps and cover news in the most sensational way, like Sunsony? I didn't want to do that. What did I want to do? I wanted to continue being a marketer, and where does people who could be my target audience belong, or where do they hang out? They hang out on LinkedIn and Twitter, but more LinkedIn in India than Twitter. So I was like, okay, I'll stay on LinkedIn and I'll hang out with these guys. So that is what it was. I was trying to cut down the things that I do, and Instagram just needs a different level of kya bolte hain usko, stamina. I don't have that. I mean, maybe AI can enable me, but I also didn't like the direction I was going in. For the first, how do I say, 80% of my journey on Instagram, I was talking to kids and bringing them into digital careers. For the next half of it, I was playing a character that got me views. None of these is where I want to belong going forward. So I moved to LinkedIn. Yep.
And how's that journey been on LinkedIn?
Peaceful. It's, see, I mean, in a way, what I chose to do is I chose to create a bubble for myself. I am not as exposed to masses as I was on Instagram. Exposed in the sense, like, I also, there's a two-way learning, right? For every now and then somebody would DM you, so you understand their thought process. What are they struggling with? They come from Raebareli, Raipur, Odisha, all kind of places. Now I'm mostly surrounded by Bangaloreans. I think it's a peaceful bubble. but also the most efficient thing for me to do right now. I
Does
don't.
it drive a lot of business for you?
It drives a lot of brand for me. It solves for mental availability.
Right.
Yeah, physical availability is obviously, you in B2B, physical availability is you meeting people in
Real time.
yeah,
Right.
or on Gmeet
Right.
or Zoom. Yeah.
Are there any like stories of you being on LinkedIn and create, because you make content pretty consistently, right? Like you post pretty consistently. What's like a unexpected thing that has happened?
I mean, it's funny. I thought I was good at it, but Manvi entered the scene from nowhere, and then she just throws out much more banger posts, and I'm like, okay, maybe
Right.
I'm not as good.
We
as
were
it.
actually just talking about this about someone else that we know,
uh.
and we are like, oh, we put so much effort into the hook and the post, and like what is optimized, what picture we are posting. I'm like A/B testing. Okay, picture with face, picture without face, and then people are coming. They're just posting, and then their post is getting like 50,000 views, like 100, 200 engagements. And I'm like, what is happening? I'm not understanding. What is this? Any insights that you have around like what works on LinkedIn?
What I'm sure doesn't work on LinkedIn is all the. I mean, there's a set template, and there are so many people. The thread boy is giving out how to structure your post, and with the AI, it's really easy. I don't think that may drive clicks in this thing for you. Like yesterday or day before yesterday, this plane crash happened.
Right.
LinkedIn, just there's so many people talking about it on LinkedIn, and it's all fake pretense. It's getting likes and views, but yeah, you're trend jacking, but number one, it's unfortunate. Number two, it's not doing anything for you. Like, sure, you're able to show that, hey, I'm a deeply empathetic or compassionate person, but I don't think it's doing much for you. And a lot people are just trend hopping. They don't have any unique insight. They want to talk about Virat Kohli, they want to talk about RCB, they want to talk about every other event. It's not doing jack shit for your personal brand, because that's the end thing. No, yeah, when you really understand brand, you will also understand that any kind of reach is not what you want. You want reach, yeah, and plastered with the right kind of message. Yeah, so a lot of people go wrong there because they think any kind of reach and engagement is making you memorable. It's not.
Are there any people in the content space that that you have been inspired by, or you have found insightful that we can call on the show?
Very good question. I don't think any Indians.
No, that's fine.
No.
In B2B, I really look up to this guy called Andy Raskin. If you can find a way to get him on a virtual sort of a podcast. Andy Raskin is one. Definitely speak with the talented guys. They know something, they're not very visible and out there, but their work speaks for them. Speak with talented, speak with Andy Raskin. Who else? Have you heard of this guy called Azaria Karkatta?
Oh, is he the guy from Wentworth?
Yeah.
Yeah. He just DM'd me today saying that, hey, I'm just watching the episode. Yeah, we'll definitely call him.
Which episode?
The one
most
that came
recent
out
episode,
yesterday.
yeah.
Which one is it?
It's like a solo pod just recapping what has happened.
Yeah, speak with Azzy.
Right.
Azzy built Wentworth. He's smart.
Right.
I'm already connected with the person who worked on the Whole Truth, like YouTube.
Shardul.
Yeah, Shardul.
Okay.
He seems
Small world.
pretty cool. Yeah. I mean, it is a very small world. Then the guy that's currently working on Triya Health, Raja. Raja. He's doing some cool stuff. Then couple of other people. Like I know Shaurya. Hopefully he will come on from Ankur's channel.
The data guy.
Correct.
So small world.
Yeah.
Small
Very
world.
small world.
Yeah.
And then like a couple of more like really interesting people. I want to get someone from Vox. We're hopefully going to get Phil Edwards on soon.
Lovely.
Hi, this is Adil, your co host at The Content Playbook. And if you like that episode, you should definitely check this one out.